Namaste and Jai Shri Krishna to all. Welcome to Path to Anandam Series 8. The power of self-transformation based upon Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures. Pranam to Guruji, Hariharji Maharaj for his blessings and guidance. I'm Satya Kalra, your host and founder of Path to Anandam, blissful living through self-transformation, self-purification, and self-realization. And blessing of Guruji, whatever you see on this page, it's all his guidance. So thank you, Guruji, for guiding me to write these bestsellers and bringing us together in the morning, every Sunday morning. Thank you. Mission of our new series, the Path to Anandam series, self to self, true nature. Self means
Shri Krishna.
to experience, realize our true purpose of life. Who am I? Where did I come from? Where would I go from here? How would I go? What do I need to do? And all requires our self-purification because we bring or we have in our subconscious mind lot of sanskaras. Our mind is filled with many past, present worries, fears. To remove our mind and cleanse our mind and remove all these. To transform ourselves through our life experiences and journey within. Through spiritual practices based on guided Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali's Yoga, and many other scriptures. And it's not that we just get the moksha. We live our life to the best of the best. We learn how to live righteously. And Bhagavad Gita is a guiding divine tool where Hariharji Maharaj always said the Gita is the answer to all those who are seeking enlightenment on the various problems of life. And based on that, the subject today, self-transformation, the power, the path of self-transformation. What is self-transformation? And what is transformation? We get very confused, so we will cover that subject here also. What is my current status of body, mind, and soul? And what does Gita say? How does Gita guide us on that part? How to transform ourselves, especially the mind, which is the main player in self-transformation. And what are the benefits do we get? How we practice? What kind of sankalpa? That I am on the path of self-transformation. And then our favorite one, homework and meditation. So what is self-transformation and what is its goal? You heard me, and actually the question came to me that I always speak about self-transformation, what it means. So I thought I should take this subject and explain it a bit further. So self-transformation, Atma Parivartan, is a conscious evolution and journey from ego to soul consciousness, from ignorance or dark to self-realization. It is a gradual purification of the mind. In last session, we spoke about Atma Shuddhi, self-purification, and now the benefit of self-purification. And then our intellect to the true self, which is Sat Chit Ananda. And this is the ultimate goal of our life, of self-purification and self-transformation to attain the purpose of our life, which is the mission of this series. And then freedom from miseries and sorrows and pains, cycle of birth and death, bondage of karmas, cause and effect, and experiencing the eternal happiness, love, peace, Anandam, which is Sat Chit Ananda. So ultimately, here actually you can see it here, night, darkness, and light. So it takes us from darkness to light. And then union with God, that's the actual self-realization, oneness of body, mind, and soul, where we experience true love, peace, Anandam, Sat Chit Ananda. So what is the difference between transformation, self-transformation, and actually there is one more thing, the change. So change in any state of condition, and this change is temporary. Sat and Asat. So this is Asat. It could be external. It is basically external. For example, if we learn something, even in the new skills, then after a while it gets obsolete. And this is the outcome or results of our body, mind, and life. Actually, it is based on the body and mind. And like changing the habits, changing jobs, etc., changing our appearance. And then one thing came to my mind, like dyeing the hair, doing makeup. This is all temporary. You have to do over and over and over. So this is the change. And usually we are very active. We do the actions, we make the decisions. And what is the outcome? It's all temporary. But the transformation, that's a deep fundamental shift in the structure, nature, or perspective. In other words, this is a transformation which we change, adat buri sudhar lo. That puts a lot of conscious effort. It doesn't happen overnight. So that is the transformation. But that's eternal. But sometimes it could be external because, sometimes this word change, parivartan, transformation is it gets overlapped. So the distinction basically is here. Over there we say body and mind, mainly the body changes. But here body, mind, and we also think about how we can be more happy. We are more living in a awareness. And this is little by little, like a caterpillar. When it becomes butterfly, it's a permanent change. So that is, but it's a natural change. There is not a conscious effort. It's a natural change. So it's a transformation is happening. And how we do it, we have to continuously practice. Yoga karme sukoshlam. We have to practice. And during this time, the mind is shift, the framework, and we have to learn the tools like time management and behavior adjustment, because again, it is somewhere external and eternal. So doing our project, then we work with the time management. So again, when the project is over, that is done. But here, the self-transformation, we spoke about self. Self is little Satya, which is sitting right here, that me here. But the bigger Satya, the Atma, Atmic Satya, that is the bigger self. Self is also known as the Atma, Paramatma. So the transformation which comes at the Atma level, it's an inner evaluation of thoughts, values, and also it is working with the higher consciousness. So it takes us to higher consciousness. This is the deepest spiritual and conscious transformation. It is the permanent. Once we experience that supreme power within us, unless we are bombarded with the negativity and external factors, we could sit in the meditation for hours and it will still continue. And the impact of meditation is very subtle, but it's a permanent. So whatever happens during this time, it's an inner journey. It's a self-improvement. But we have to live in the conscious level. For example, when we reflect on our self-inquiries, we are on that path and we continue to practice to know our true nature. So the difference is here, the transformation could be for anyone. But here, focus is only on self-realization. Again, moving from ego to self-awareness. And living in the purity, Atma Shuddhi, self-purification, that is the path, gateway to self-transformation. And mainly it is a working on the mind. Udher Atma Atmanevna, Atmanev Vasadet, Atmanevi Bandur Atma, Atmanev Ripur Atma. Means our own mind could be our enemy or friend. Choice is ours. How we can use our mind. And that's where here the practices, the meditation, and do our good service, seva, with love and compassion, with wisdom. That's all combination of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. And of course, we do the self-inquiry and spiritual practices. And the outcome is ultimately the eternal happiness, health, peace, and purity. And experience the Chit Ananda. So this gives a clear distinction, that temporary change which we do it. Here we put somewhat practice to it, but again, it is more related to the external world and sometimes it's internal. But here, this is entirely Atma Parivartan, self-transformation. So if that is a self-transformation, and we talk about the mind could be our friend or enemy. So let's understand what is this mind we are talking about. Sometimes it gets confused with the brain. We are talking, of course, brain has a big part to play, but here is we are speaking about, or I'm mentioning here, the mind. Mind is, what is mind? We all know that it's a bundle of thoughts. It's a memory bank of old sanskaras, habits. It's full of everything here. And actually, it is a master of the senses. And the verse, chapter 342, it explains the mind is right here. And it controls, it's higher than the Indriyas, but it could be controlled by Indriyas because it does not have its own. The intellect is higher than Buddhi is higher than that, and the supreme, the Atma is even higher. So mind is right in the middle here, which plays a big role. And if you look at it, if you put the mind W, if you make it a W, it becomes wind. And the speed of the mind is just like a frequency of the wind. That's where Arjuna says to Bhagwanji, when Bhagwanji says, do this, be calm, all those meditation, etc. And then he says, mind is so chanchal. How could I do this? I cannot control my mind. And Bhagwanji says, you have a control. You can make it as a friend or enemy. So how to make mind as a friend? Though it is very restless, very turbulent, very stubborn, we all know that. But still, it is, Bhagwanji says, that's what the Gita is all about, bringing us to equanimity, control our mind, and make a best use of mind. Where it says in Bhagavad Gita again, that verse keeps coming. It's in chapter 17, verse 15. Man, make a best use of the mind. How? With bhava shuddhi. Bhava shuddhi iti tapo manasam uchyate. Do the tapa of mind. So, this is basically we understand about mind, but how does the mind work? Because it has major three functions at conscious level, subconscious level, and superconscious level. It's all here. And how does this functions? Like conscious mind. We're sitting right now. Whatever you are listening, I'm speaking. This is a conscious mind. We are at the present moment whatever we are doing, that's a conscious mind. At the same time, when we say the mind is a storage, that's the storage part is called as a subconscious mind. And our personality, our action, it becomes automatically, like when we are driving, we automatically put our hands on the steering wheel and foot on the brakes, because it's an automatic reaction. Similarly, we have a lot of sanskaras, a lot of old memories in our mind, which automatically we behave that way. Sometimes certain things trigger. Why? Because mind is full and our personality develops, our gunas. It's all belong to the subconscious mind, which is actually the mind this is the bigger part. As you can see, the conscious mind, that says information goes in, which is only 10%. We retain only 10% because our subconscious mind has the most of the information, which is the study shows it's a 90%. That makes our personality. And that controls our brain and the mind, and then also brain as well, because it develops our neuropaths in our body and it develops our personality. So it's very, very important. The part here is, see, gradually when we are putting the information in the conscious mind, little by little, the subconscious mind will get filled and start replacing the old information. And that's what the Gita is all about. How to remove and cleanse our subconscious mind and remove that sanskaras which we are carrying, the habits we are carrying, and gunas from tamasic, rajasic to go to sattvic nature. And by practicing going to sattvic nature, how to go to gunatit, we are beyond any limitations. So these are the barriers which we have spoken several times. And that always, this slide is so important. And that's why I try to bring it in almost every presentation whenever there is a purification or transformation or realization that we are controlled by these negative emotions. These are the barriers to our self-transformation, causes and effects, stress, anger, fear, guilt, hatred, jealousy, attachments, ego, desires, impatience, all these negative attitudes, physical problems. Sometimes we have physical problems. And that's why we are so engrossed with pains and so many other heart burning and all that. We cannot think about anything else. And same time, if our hormones balance is, our endocrine system is upset, or have some issue with our heart problems or respiratory or asthma or anything, all these problems are more surface because with negative attitude, our body is releasing the toxins, cortisol, which system, which gives us all kind of diseases. So if you look at from this negative emotion, anxiety, fear, anger, all these, what does it do? It gives us the birth. It gives the birth to diseases. It disconnects us from the supreme power. And we experience miseries, pains, bondage. And then the cycle of birth keep going and going and going. But here you can see what happens to us. We become very unhappy because we don't have a good sleep. We are always looking for something else, upset, limitations. And that's where our conscious level goes down. From higher conscious level, connection to supreme power. Just like Arjuna, who was such a brave person. And he became hero to zero, because he was confused, fearful, worried, stressed, and he couldn't even stand anymore. And it happens to all of us. So then the question comes, how to transcend? And in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Ji says, very first, I would say order or sandesh, whatever you want to name it. But very first teaching to Arjuna was, because he did not understand what is Atma and what is Paramatma and all these things. So Bhagwan Ji said, okay, just nistray guna bhav Arjuna. Go beyond these limitations of good and bad. And it says, Triguna Vishya Veda Nistray Guno Bhavarjuna Nirdvando Nitva Satvasto Niryog Shem Atmavan. These Vedas deal with three gunas, tamsic, rajasic, sattvic. So, hey Arjun, transcend from these gunas, your limitations. Free yourself from the duality. Be unconcerned of acquisitions and preservation. If somebody dies, if these people will die, whether I will get the kingdom, I will not get the kingdom. Forget about all these things. Just establish in purity by performing your duty. And to me, this is the formula for self-purification, transformation, and realization and experiencing our true nature. Just go beyond your limitations, whatever limitations we have in our life. And how we should do it? Again, I had shown this slide last week also, but here is mainly the focus is all the karma yoga, bhakti, do whatever resonates with our body, but we cannot do without doing any action. But the action is always neki kar kuए में डाल, do not expect. कर्मण्य वादिका रस्ते माँ फलेषु कदाचन माँ कर्म फल हेतु भूमाते संगोस्ति कर्मणि. Do your best with love and compassion. Then I will give you the bhakti yoga. Cleanse your body with your purity of heart, purity of intellect. You will get the wisdom that you and I are no different. But you have to calm your mind and take the help of meditation as well. So then you will go beyond this, see this upsetness, and then you practice all this, live the sattvic life. Do your daily practices. Then you will come out, then you can make your mind your friend. Their Atma, Atmaneva, Atmaneva Vasade. So you can make your mind friend, not the enemy. But how? Just follow this. Very simple. Just follow this. In other words, this will take you to self-purification, and then you will automatically will be transformed. You don't have to put any effort. You just have to focus on these activities. And that's the reason we put this, remind ourselves over and over to practice, practice, practice. Because purity leads to divinity and divinity leads to unity. But we must practice, practice, practice all these activities. And then here it says, restrain your mind. But for restraining our mind, we have to live in awareness. We have to live. बेहोशी में नहीं जीना है, जागृति में जीना है कि how am I working, how am I thinking, how am I seeing, what am I doing, where am I going, how am I spending my time. That jagrati has to be there, and then continuous practices. And that's what the Bhagavad Gita is teaches. Lord Krishna is teaches. Bhagwan ji कहते हैं, just कुछ नहीं, practice, 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 because it is a step-by-step process. ये कोई overnight नहीं है. Then you will get beyond your bondage of life and then get the freedom. And in this series, again, I emphasize, we started with the awareness here. And then samvad, kaisa bole, how to live, not in too much negativity and too much positivity, because we lose the sight of it and we become unrealistic. So we live in the neutral position, and then don't expect too much from others and yourself. Be reasonable. By doing that, self-purification comes. We talked about the yogi last week, that then we get the connection with supreme power, and then the transformation comes, and then realization comes. But we have to start our day with our mantras, reading Bhagavad Gita, doing and start doing our meditation, pranayam, yoga, etc. And then practice, practice, practice what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. And continue to do it. And evaluate before going to bed. How did I do it? And by doing that, let go. Because Bhagwan Ji says, don't worry, just come on this path. Rest of it my responsibility. Sarva dharman paritajya. Mamekam sharanam praj. Aham tvam sarpapebhyo mokshashyami machuch. So for that, then we get the benefits. Why should we do all this? Again, question comes, I'm doing this. What am I going to get out of it? Because sometimes when we get so frustrated, so disheartened, then at that time we do get discouraged. That what happens to my spiritual practices? Why can't I continue to have that peace, full state all the time? And Bhagwan Ji says, don't worry, because the benefits are so subtle, but they are there. Because the medical data shows that with meditation, our every organ of the body is healed, because the cortisol level goes down, which is a poison toxin to body. Then endorphins start releasing. And It is shown in the many publications, starting Harvard and NIH and all that. You look at all these Ivy universities and so many places that these studies are going on, because now they have different departments for this. And why affirmation? Sometimes I heard in one of the questions, when we use the affirmation, I am such, I am this, I'm this, isn't that the ego part that I'm talking about? And I'm not there, but I am saying I am this. And here the study shows that by giving the affirmation, that message to ourselves, eventually we become that. And then by doing expressing the gratitude, actually it came in the gratitude journal, this how it improves our emotions and reduces even the infection in many people recover from cancers by practicing the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. The pain is reduced. And by doing the seva, it boosts our serotonin level. And many people, the prescription is given to many people who are depressed. Go and do some volunteer work. Work in the young children's school. Work with the homeless people and see how good you are. So make the best use of body. And then always live in the consciousness of Om Mantra. That automatically reduces all the toxins and all the pains in the body. And it gives us a healthy body, healthy mind, and connects us with supreme power. In other words, our body, mind, and soul is connected. And when it is connected, we can experience, who am I? I am Chit Ananda. So here I just show that all this, how little by little, all these issues kind of fall off. So from unhappiness to it gives us the happiness. We go from a lower self to higher self, like Arjuna. Finally, he said, Karishye Vachanam Tam, because his doubts were removed. All these things are removed, and see what happens. So our sankalpa is, I am transformed. I am on the path of self-transformation. And by doing that, by practicing, it changes our conscious mind. It gives us the transformation to subconscious mind and gives us a connection step by step with the speed, very slow speed. Kachwe ki speed hai, khargosh ki nahi hai. So our sankalpa is very, very important. By little, by step, we will reach there. So our homework is, do I practice? Do I always live in the self-awareness? Do I live like a sakshi? Do I watch all of my actions, my thoughts? Do I live in God's consciousness? Am I aware of my bad habits? Am I working on those which take my smile away from me? Is every thought of mine is pure? Bhav Shuddhir. Is my intentions are clean? Am I detached and calm? Do I follow the golden rule? How to treat others as I want to be treated? And do I do my daily practices? So practice self-purification, transformation, because a very famous saint from China, Lao Tzu, said, if you want to awaken all the humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that in dark and negativity in yourself. Focus is in yourself. Truly, the greatest gift you have to give is that of your own self-transformation. So this is a gift to all of you. Today's session is gift to all of you. to learn the power of self-transformation and walk on this path of self-transformation to experience ultimate happiness, peace, Anandam. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you.